Good evening. My name is Reginald Johnson, and my assignment tonight is to talk to you about what policies should be developed to address poverty amongst veterans. First of all, I would like to share a story about the fact that I am a veteran honorably discharged from the United States Navy. I went into the Navy in 1986, and I served on the USS Iowa battleship BB-61. Had the fortunate opportunity to serve in the United States Navy, where we have the opportunity to go and serve our country in protecting ships in the Persian Gulf region. That was an amazing experience, and unless you've served in the United States Navy, it's kind of hard to explain the ups and the downs, the ebbs and the flows as it relates to serving our country. We as sailors go out each and every day while we are enlisted in the military to make sure that each and every one of you are safe. But unfortunately, over the years, it has been known and has been studied that from the World War I, World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the more current wars, the war in Iraq, the Persian Gulf, and the war in Afghanistan, have had a major effect on our veterans. Many of our veterans, as you might know, and many of you may have family members who are family members of veterans. Many of our veterans come home wounded and scarred. Many of them come home ill-prepared to live a regular and normal life. Many of them also suffer from mental illnesses because of their experiences of battling on the battlefield. And because of that, many of our veterans come home and enter into a place of poverty. They have the incapacity to put food on the tables of their family. It has been said that the statistic states that in 2015, the veterans far exceeded the average rate in our country of 12%. And due to that, we want to talk to you about what can we do in order to help our veterans, to help them in the place where they need it the most. They need our compassion. They need our support through our effort to show some empathy towards their needs. I know that poverty is not just associated with veterans. We have persons who are in poverty all over our country, and there are programs that are in place for them. But my assignment is to talk to you about what is very genuine and close to my heart, which are my comrades, whether they serve in the United States Navy, whether they serve in the United States Marines, whether it's in the United States Air Force or the United States Army. We are the front line that continue to put our lives in harm's way. And I believe that we should do everything we can to make sure that every veteran, at least we can move them from the place of poverty so that they not only can take care of themselves, but they can take care of their family. According to an article written by the Washington Post, it was opened up by a story that was given to us by a gentleman by the name of Stegall. This article was written eloquently. It was a great article that was given to us, and in this Washington Post article written by Caitlin Dewey in October the 9th, 2017, we was given an opportunity to get a close bird's eye view of what the government is doing in order to help our veterans. How do we deal with the poverty issue with our veterans? And Stegall started out the story by talking about how when he left the military, he did not have the proper skills, he did not have a job, and he was unable to put food on the table for his family. And just for a moment, just think. It's a powerful and a moving moment when then you've come home from war, you've come home from serving your country, and the pressure that is placed upon you is what you need to do to take care of your family. Think about that for a minute. You've served your country, you've put your life on the line, and when you come home, you don't have the sufficient resources to take care of your family. And so many people will ask the question, how can we make things better for our veterans? How can we do what we need to do to provide for our veterans? I'm happy, according to this article in the Washington Post, it stated that now the Veterans Administration, when a veteran goes for health care, they raise a question to that veteran. And they ask that veteran, is he hungry? Or do he find himself to be hungry? Or they ask questions centered around the well-being of that veteran. And because of that, the veteran then is processed through those questionnaires to find out whether or not that veteran needs the proper assistance. And when I started working on this project, I did not have access to the information that I'm providing to you today. That there is a program. It's not a perfect program. It is fairly new. It started in 2017, and they're still trying to work out all of the quirks and some of the things that happens with rolling out a new program. But I am encouraged that our veterans now are on the agenda of our government and the agency that serves our veterans, that they are to find the proper resources in order for them not to be in poverty. Because I think that when you serve your country and you serve your country well and you exit the military with an honorable discharge, I believe the responsibility of our country is to make sure they take care of the men and women who've put their lives on the line. And so this program will provide not only the questionnaire, but it also will pair our veterans with the proper resources so that they could get, whether it be training, whether it be assistance, that they could get what they need, housing, food, and education, so that they can live a good and healthy life. And so as I conclude, as I stated before, being a veteran, it is one of my passions, and I hope that you would agree with me. And we know that legislation and the work of our legislators, they appropriate our budget. And your participation is very important to make sure that every veteran makes sure that they have something on the table to eat, that they're not in the place of poverty, but every veteran, that our men and women will always have the support of you and myself to make sure that resources will always be available to make sure that every veteran should never be in a place of poverty. Every elected official, whether it be at the national level, every congressperson, every senator, they have their plans in place. And you don't hear these stories about a congressperson. You don't hear these stories about a senator. But you hear about those who you don't see every day. It is the man and woman who's behind the scene that's allowing these other persons of privilege to be in the position that they're in. And so I hope that you will always keep the veteran in the forefront, keep them in your heart as they serve, because our country is a better place and a more effective environment because we have committed men and women who are working to make our lives safe and secure in the borders of our country. So as I conclude, the question was, as we started out this discussion about the fact of the well-being of what we can do to make sure that our veterans are not in poverty. And we've now discovered the answer because we know that the government is providing that. But I know that the government can't do it by itself. We need support of you to continue to support elected officials who will make sure that our veterans are always put at the top of the list. I know there's a laundry list of things that are important to those who are citizens in our country, but don't let the veteran be the last one to be attended to. It is what you do and what I do to encourage those who are in power, that are in the position of decisions, to make sure that our veterans are always in a place where that we don't have to have a sad discussion about veterans being in poverty. Of course, there are mental issues. mental health issues that are involved, but I believe if we support our veterans, then we will make sure that each veteran will have a roof over their head, food on their table, and the ability to take care of their families. Thank you for listening, and I hope that because of what I've said to you today, that your heart is open and will receive the support of supporting our veterans. Take care.